Mentoring is a practice, one in which has continuous learning and continuous improvement. I'd like to share three lessons that I hear quite often about what happens for every mentor who learns something from mentoring too late. These three ideas are what mentors have to catch up on as they move into their mentoring. Welcome, Dr. Stephen Hobbs here from the Wealth Movement. Of these three ideas that I want to share with you, I'm going to summarize them in the following way. Documentation matters, language matters, and situation matters. Those are the three short forms of what I'm going to share. Let me take the first one. Documentation matters. I think we would all agree is that if you're going to be doing mentoring, that there is an element of documentation that goes with it. And that documentation can be anything from the agreement contract between the mentor and the mentee. It might involve the portfolio, as I call it. If you're going to do certification, the mentor has to have a certain level of documentation, the portfolio put together for submission. And the third piece to this one, I would say, is the logbook, which is to keep track of what has happened during the mentoring session, again, for certification, but also that continuous improvement, continuous learning is each time you mentor, what is it that you learn? And these three elements are just, the highlights of where documentation takes place. What happens for mentors is they seem to give up on the documentation. I'm not always sure why, is they forget to do it. They think it's something that's, well, I'll get to it a little bit later. They seem to have these excuses around documentation. And I have to admit, I scratch my head because the documentation is so valuable when you think of the reasons I've just shared for doing the documentation. So that's one of the area where there's this bit of a slip, or they learn about it too late, and then there's an element of catch-up that has to happen. The second one is language matters, and this one is one that I will bring to the foreground whenever I'm helping mentors to be mentors, but also reminding mentees when I talk to them that it's really important to do the following. Make sure that you define the terms and concepts associated with the mentoring arrangement. Second is agree on those terms and concepts. And third, make the map, the plan, the way forward using those terms and concepts until a new set of terms and concepts start to unfold as you learn and work together, grow together. And the reason that this is important is that that language is what we share, and if we deviate from it or move away and then move through it and off, we can get into some elements of confusion. And when you define the terms and concepts, agree to it, and make the map to move forward, then you get a better sense of where you're both going. But in particular for the mentor is if you get the terms and concepts and their definitions and the agreement, then what you're able to do is use the words of the mentee in the mentoring process. And therefore, the words that the mentee is using and the words that you're using in response continues to sort of catch the head, heart, and hands of the mentee. But the key thing is that by understanding that language matters, you get to do your mentoring, the presentation, the participation from your side as the mentor. You get to do it on your terms and to be able to guide the mentoring arrangement, which is of value to both. The third one is situation matters. And this is one where, yes, you might slip up and you'd have to do a little bit of working around it to build trust again because something may have happened. Let me give you a couple of examples. The place that you meet to do the mentoring, and let's say it's in the workplace, you could do it in a semi-private area. You might think, well, we can find a table in the coffee shop, but unfortunately, voices carry, and people might hear what is being said. And I've had an experience with a mentee who, the next time we talked, said, well, there's some misinterpretive bad gossip that happened in the workplace because of the conversation. Someone overheard and took it out for what he called the ride. and I understand that. So it was great for us to both understand that, but in particular to remind me as a mentor to really pay attention to the situation matter. So that's one example. Another one might be is that the mentee may not always pick up the message that is being shared if it's being done in a public place, because they may be looking over their shoulders every once in a while trying to figure out who's there, who might be hearing it. And that can lead to confusion as well, because now the mentee is not present with you, and you've got to pay attention to that. See, the mentee doesn't always know what's going on from a mentoring arrangement until they get into it and you establish this trusted alliance. So these ones around situation matters sort of fly at the beginning of a mentoring arrangement. But there is a third example. And again, unfortunately, I had this one, and it was a good learning for me as well. And I talked to a couple of other mentors about it, and it seems it happened to them as well. So I'm going to share it here, is that from a self-concept point of view, from the mentee's perspective, when the mentoring takes place in a public place or can be seen by others, for example, I have mentored in a glass room where people are walking by, and the mentee would share sometimes, is this a sign of weakness that I'm actually getting mentoring or even getting coaching? And I'm unsure here what's going to happen for me. You know, people see that I've got someone from the outside coming in to help. Are they going to think that I'm weak at what I do in my job? When in fact, when I was doing it and this came up, the person was looking for the mentoring to advance themselves into the next level of management. So these three elements of what matters, documentation matters, language matters, and situation matters, are three lessons every mentor can learn in mentoring before it becomes an issue. Don't let these three elements of the mentoring arrangement slip away on you as a mentor. And again, I've been sharing in some videos, it pertains to coaching as well. And from that perspective, I've actually created a course on coaching and mentoring, their connection, how they compete against one another, how they collaborate with one another. It opens up soon for a group working together, but it'll also be available if you wanted to do it on a one-person basis. So for the course, I've put the link below so you can follow it up, and it's at the end in the credits part as well. So with that, I just encourage you, if you're watching the video on YouTube, is to do a like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring the bell so that you can receive notifications of other videos. So with that, take care.